Hello, my name is Kate Baker. I am the Macmillan Deputy Head of Therapies at Velindre Cancer Centre, and I am a physiotherapist by background. Today's presentation is looking at the development, and this stands for the Breast Axilla Post-Operative Support. This is a development that's happened over the last couple of years, and it was all through the Welsh Health Hack. The Welsh Health Hack is an event which brings together industry, academia clinicians to talk about ideas and to try and put the ideas into reality. And we were really lucky with this event that we were secured funding to try and develop an app specifically looking at exercises to help ladies and gentlemen after they'd had breast surgery. The main aim of what we were trying to do was to try and reduce the shoulder and arm stiffness and encourage people to be ready for their radiotherapy. So this was a co-production between Velindre Cancer Centre and Cardiff and Vale University Health Board. This slide really shows nicely the pathway that patients follow when they're going through breast cancer. So once there's a diagnosis at the start, often a treatment plan is made by the MDT. Patients may have breast surgery, and it's after this breast surgery that previously patients would hopefully, and I say hopefully because it wasn't always, but hopefully access a physiotherapist who was able to guide them through some exercise on the ward, and this would be in the 24-hour period after surgery, and they would be handed leaflets and talked through the exercises to be able to go away by themselves to carry them out at home. Now, these leaflets are often inconsistent across the health boards, so information can differ and does differ. Not all patients will go on then to receive further oncological treatment, but those that do, radiotherapy is often a choice of treatment. And at this point, patients have to be able to have their arms above their head after surgery and to be able to achieve position for their radiotherapy plan and scan, and then to go on for their radiotherapy treatment. But we were finding that there was a large proportion of patients who were unable to achieve this position for radiotherapy. Now, this has a major knock-on effect for a variety of different areas, not only for the patient's psychological well-being of being told they can't be planned because they can't achieve the position. It has a knock-on effect with the physiotherapy team. So the team will receive an urgent referral saying that Mrs. Jones isn't able to achieve her arm position for the radiotherapy. So we have to act urgently to assess and treat that individual, which is often several treatments within a week period, and to try and prepare them and get them ready for their radiotherapy plan, which then allows them to continue through to their radiotherapy treatment, which historically has always been 4 weeks of daily radiotherapy treatment. So we knew that this was a slight problem. We wanted to try and reduce the number of urgent referrals coming through to physio. We wanted to reduce the number of urgent patients who weren't able to achieve their arm position. And we wanted to be able to deliver the information in a format that wasn't rushed, that wasn't given straight after surgery, where often patients aren't able to concentrate and aren't able to follow through the exercises at that time. So we really wanted to focus on a self-management tool. This picture shows nicely the position that patients have to achieve to have their radiotherapy. So this is somebody in the CT planner, CT scanner for their radiotherapy planning. You can see both arms are up around their heads in stirrups, which they have to maintain this position for up to 20 minutes, which, as you can imagine, once you've had breast surgery, connective tissue may be very, very tight, and this can often prove very difficult for some individuals. So we need to prepare patients ready for this stage for those who are undergoing radiotherapy. So the development of the BAPS app, once we had secured the funding, which was really exciting, we had a number of different actions that we had to undertake to enable the app to be developed. It wasn't straightforward. We were lucky enough to work with Orchard Media, which was a company that had approached us at the Welsh Health Hack, who was very keen to work with us to develop the app. But as you can see from the table here, that there were a number of different areas we had to work through to ensure we had patient engagement. From the word go, we had a patient involved in the BAPS app who was able to guide us through her journey where she felt the information she was given at her time of surgery wasn't sufficient. The piece of paper she was given with her exercises on, she felt wasn't sufficient and often gets put in a drawer and not looked at during that post-op period. So to enable us to develop the BAPS app, we held a number of stakeholder meetings to ensure that the information was correct. We engaged with patients. We had to film the app, which took a while. We had to have voiceovers and podcasts. We had to really think about what was in the app and what patients would want. And again, being in Wales, we had a Welsh translation. We changed our track slightly with including the deep breathing guide. So this is the deep inspirational hold, that when patients are being treated with radiotherapy to their left breast area, often the radiotherapy needs to avoid the heart, and so patients are encouraged to do a deep breath so the radiotherapy goes straight through and avoids any of the major organs. And we realised that this was an area that was never really talked about pre-radiotherapy. So again, to prepare patients for their radiotherapy treatment, we felt that introducing the deep breathing guide was really important. This slide, again, comes from the media company. So it's something we had to work through because in our minds we knew exactly what we wanted, but we had to articulate that to the media company to enable us to pull together our thoughts and to put our ideas into reality. So Orchard Media wanted to understand our usage. So they wanted the specified requirements. They wanted to look at a design solution and evaluate it. And effectively, this is a bit of a cycle to enable us to evaluate, to make changes, to go back to the design solution, to focus on exactly what did we want, who were we focusing on. And that cycle went round and round and round. But in the end, we got there and we developed an app which we felt had the right information on for the patients, which could be used as a self-management tool at any point after their breast. So the app was launched in February 2019, so just under a year after we had the funding approved in 2018. And we have developed some patient handheld leaflets and cards so patients know what to do. So ultimately, at the point of post-surgery, whether it's a CNS, whether it's a physiotherapist, patients are pointed to and guided towards the BAPS app to allow them to download it onto their phone. It's free. It has 4 main sections and it's divided that patients actually follow their way through. It's very self-explanatory. Follow their way through each session and they can have rewards. They have the feeling of control, that they are in control of what they're doing with their exercises. There's also a QR code that we have on the cards, on the business cards, which allows patients to very easily download the app. So if we look at the utilisation of the app since we launched it back in February 2019, we've had nearly 1,500 downloads and just over 1,000 of those have completed at least one of the sessions. Now, maybe disappointingly, we can see that a third had completed all 4 sessions. So there's a question there around why patients are not going right the way through, and we need to explore that further now going forward. I think one of our biggest learning curves with innovation was looking at how you advertise your development. We were lucky enough that we were approached via the BBC Wales and we were filmed and had a TV appearance, which was a very exciting opportunity. And we found that after this live event, we had a 300% spike in users with the BAPS app, and that's massive. So that really taught us that you've got to advertise in the right areas to enable your development and your innovation to be out there and used by patients. So the average user uses the app 31 times, and we know that the downloads 50% of the ages are 45 to 65 and 91% of users are UK based. However, it has on our map been shown to be used in Australia and America. So as you can imagine, it is being used elsewhere, not just UK based. So this graph nicely shows downloads of the BAPS app. It's variable, as you can see, over the period of the last couple of years. But we had that big spike, as you can see, 300% increase, and that was post appearance on the BBC. This graph shows the urgent physiotherapy numbers coming through Velindre. So the first star we can see on the graph was the launch. That was February 19. The second star, we had a slight peak around the July 19 period, and we investigated that at the time because we felt that was slightly unusual after we'd held it fairly level with no urgent referrals once the BAP app was being utilised by patients, which we investigated, and that the three of the patients who we spoke to hadn't actually downloaded the BAPS app and hadn't used it. So again, that kind of sparked a bit of a thought as to what we need to be doing to encouraging patients to download the app as much as possible. And you can see it's variable after this time with the number of urgent referrals, but generally on the lower part than before we launched the app. This slide then just ends the presentation just by showing the collaboration that we've had really with everybody. We were on BBC Wales, the radio station Breakfast News, which is the top left-hand photo, and the bottom left-hand photo shows nicely us with the BBC during our filming period. So I think the biggest thing to note really with the BAPS app is that it's a self-management tool. It's really key to get your ideas down on paper, to have patient representation when you're developing any kind of innovation. I think my biggest lesson was that your ideas can become reality if you work with the correct innovation companies. And essentially what we're trying to do is improve the patient pathway. And I think this is really key to patient experience. Thank you for listening.